Now we're going to solve the equation for theta. So I'm telling you sine of theta is equal to 1/2. So let's think about what we know about sine. Sine is always the y value because it's opposite over hypotenuse. So here's that 1/2. The 1/2, radical 3 over 2, radical 2 over 2. We're coming back to those. So we're looking at the unit circle. All right. If I make my xy axis, again, I'm telling you which quadrant I want you to work in. So I want you to be between pi over 2 and pi. So I want to be in that second quadrant. All right. Sine, actually, let me just do this. I want to be in quadrant 2. So sine is positive. Y values always go up, so this is good. I know in quadrant 2 my x values are negative and my y values are positive. All right, so let me make my triangle here. Remember, I always want the triangle to touch the x-axis. Here's theta, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I know my y value here is 1/2. That's always 1. The other number that always goes with this is radical 3 over 2. Those of you who memorize the chart, at this point you could just write your chart and look at it and figure out what it is. If you have these numbers, if you have 1/2, you're going to have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Which angle measurement is always across from 1/2? That would be 30 degrees. We're working with radians here, so that would be pi over 6. So this angle right here is pi over 6. All right, that's the reference angle. The angle always starts on the positive x-axis, and it's going to end right there. So how big is that green angle I just made? I would do pi minus 6 pi over 6, or 6 pi over 6 minus pi over 6, to give me 5 pi over 6. That's my answer. Let's try another one. We've got secant of theta. So what do we know about secant? We know secant is the reciprocal of cosine, or 1 over x. So if secant is negative radical 2, if I flip that upside down, so negative 1 over radical 2, that's ugly, so we're going to multiply top and bottom by radical 2. So I have negative radical 2 over 2. There's one of my magical numbers. Remember, our magical numbers are 1/2, radical 3 over 2, radical 2 over 2. Those are really the only values you're going to be using. All right, cosine is negative. Let's look at an xy axis here. I'm telling you which quadrant I want you to work in, right here. I want you to be between pi and 3 pi over 2. So that puts me right in the third quadrant. So I'm in quadrant 3. Think about your xy values there. X's are negative, y's are negative, which makes sense because cosine here, that's cosine theta. This is all cosine that we did. That's my x value. My x value is negative. So I went back radical 2 over 2, so I'm going to have to go down radical 2 over 2 because I want to be in that third quadrant. So I've got negative radical 2 over 2, negative radical 2 over 2. What does that make theta? Well, think about what value or what angle always goes with radical 2 over 2. If they're the same, that would have to be 45 degrees. 45 degrees in radians is pi over 4. So this angle is pi over 4. That's great, but remember, an angle always starts on the positive x-axis, and I want to go all the way around to my terminal side. How do we figure out what that is? We just have to add a whole half circle. So 4 pi over 4 plus pi over 4, that's a really ugly 4, gives me 5 pi over 4. And there's my answer. One more. Okay, now we've got tangent. All right, so think about what you know about tangent. Tangent is sine over cosine, or y over x. Notice that tangent is negative. So even if I didn't tell you which quadrant to work in, you should know right away that tangent's only going to be negative when your x and y values are different signs. So that happens in your second and in your fourth quadrant. So right here and right here. I am telling you to work in this quadrant. So between 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. So I'm having you work in the second quadrant right there. Alright, so I want to figure this out. I know that I need to come up with something when I divide that I get negative radical 3 using my magical numbers. Radical 3 over 2, 1/2, radical 2 over 2. Well, these numbers are always paired up. This is always paired up with the same. So I know it's not going to be that because radical 2 over 2 divided by itself is 1. So I need to use these two numbers to come up with negative radical 3. So I've got radical 3 over 2, 1/2. Those 2's cross out, so then I get radical 3. But I know I need it to be negative. So I need my y value to be a radical 3 over 2. Y values go down, so that's negative radical 3 over 2. My x value is 1/2. So from there I can try to figure out what theta is. So what angle is always across from radical 3 over 2? That's going to be 60 degrees, or pi over 3. So this angle right here is pi over 3. Again, we have to figure out the whole angle though. So I'm going to take 2 pi, or 6 pi over 3, and subtract my reference angle of pi over 3 to get 5 pi over 3. So there's my answer. Alright, please go on to Buzz and do the 6.4. Give it a try. I will see you guys in class.